All right, let's talk about something that every single one of us deals with, whether we know the economic term for it or not. We're diving into the income leisure model. It's basically the science behind that constant tug of war between working more to earn more and kicking back to enjoy life. So, let's kick things off with a question that seems simple, but really isn't. If your boss offers you a raise, does that automatically mean you're going to put in more hours? You'd think so, right? Well, the reality is, it's complicated, and it gets right to the heart of what we're talking about today. So, at its core, this whole thing boils down to a classic dilemma: income versus leisure. I mean, we all face this, right? You want more stuff, cool gadgets, nice vacations, which means you need income. But you also want more free time to actually enjoy life. And, you can't have an infinite amount of both, so you've got to choose. The whole point of this exercise for every one of us is to maximize our happiness. Economists call this utility. We're all trying to find that perfect sweet spot, that ideal combination of consumption. We'll call that C, and leisure, or L, that just makes us feel the best off. Okay, so how on earth do you map something as personal as happiness? How do you chart what you truly want? Well, economists have a really cool tool for this. It's called an indifference curve. So what is an indifference curve? Just think of it like a level of happiness line on a map. Every single point on this one curve shows a different mix of income and free time. But here's the key: you'd be equally happy with any of them. So maybe you're just as content with a huge paycheck and hardly any vacation days as you would be with a smaller paycheck but, say, Fridays off. To you, those two options give you the exact same level of satisfaction or utility. Okay, these curves have four key properties that are actually pretty intuitive. First, they slope down. Makes sense, right? If you want more leisure, you have to give up some income. Second, curves that are further out from the center are always better, because that means more of both. Third, they never, ever cross. But the fourth one is maybe the most interesting. They're convex. They bow in towards the origin. And what that really shows is something we all feel. The more you have of something, the less you value getting one more of it. So if you've already got tons of free time, you're not going to be willing to give up much income for just one more hour of it. Now, the steepness of that curve at any point has a fancy name: the marginal rate of substitution, or MRS. But don't let the name scare you. All it is your personal exchange rate. It's how much income you are personally willing to trade for one more hour of leisure while staying on that same happiness level. It's basically the price you put on your own free time. And this is where it gets really cool, because this shows how different we all are. Look at a workaholic. Their indifference curves are going to be really steep. That means they value income a lot, they're willing to give up a ton of leisure for just a little more cash. Now, flip that. The leisure lover has much flatter curves. You'd have to bribe them with a massive raise to get them to give up even a little bit of their precious free time. All right, so we've mapped out what we want, but now reality hits. This is the time and money constraint. Because let's face it, our desires might be infinite, but our time and money sure aren't. We're limited by the hours in a day and the wage we earn. And these limits create what's called our budget constraint. It's basically a straight line that shows all the possible combinations of stuff we can buy and leisure time we can take that we can actually afford. And what determines the slope of that line? It's your wage. Your wage is the market's exchange rate. It tells you exactly what an hour of your time is worth in terms of consumption. So we have what you want, your indifference curves, and what you can get, your budget constraint. The big moment is finding where those two meet. This is where you find your optimal equilibrium, your perfect balance. So where is that optimal choice? It's the point where you reach the highest possible happiness curve that you can afford. Graphically, it's that single beautiful point where your indifference curve just touches, is tangent to your budget line. Any higher and you can't afford it. Any lower and you're not as happy as you could be. And here's the magic moment. At that exact point of equilibrium, your personal trade-off rate, your MRS, is perfectly equal to the market's trade-off rate, your wage. Think about that. What you're willing to trade an hour for is exactly what the market is offering you for that hour. It's a perfect match. But of course, things change. What happens when you get that raise? How does that affect your choice? Well, this is where things get really interesting, because a wage change kicks off a major tug-of-war in your decision-making. Okay, so a wage increase unleashes two powerful opposing forces. First, you've got the substitution effect. Suddenly, leisure is more expensive, right? Every hour you take off costs you more in lost earnings. That makes you want to substitute away from leisure and towards work. It pushes you to work more. But at the very same time, you've got the income effect. Hey, you're richer. You can afford more of everything. And that includes leisure. This makes you want to work less and enjoy your higher income. So you have this internal battle going on. Which force is going to win? The answer is, it totally depends on you. If that substitution effect is stronger, you're going to work more. You'll say, hey, the price is right, I'm putting in the hours. But if the income effect is the winner, you'll actually work less. You'll decide to use that extra money to buy back some of your time and enjoy life a bit more. And this constant battle between the income and substitution effects is exactly what creates something we see in economics all the time, the individual labor supply curve. We're moving from a personal choice to a full-on economic curve here. This whole dynamic can lead to a really famous, kind of weird-looking curve. It's called the backward bending labor supply curve. See, when your wages are on the lower side, the substitution effect usually wins. A raise means you work more, and the curve slopes up like you'd expect. But once your wage gets really high, something can flip. At those high income levels, the income effect can start to take over. People might decide, you know what, I'm earning enough. That extra dollar from working another hour just doesn't feel as valuable as an hour spent not working. So even if their wage goes up even more, they actually start to work fewer hours. The curve literally starts to bend backward. They are, in effect, using their high income to buy back their own time. So you can see this isn't just some dusty old textbook theory, right? This model gives us a super powerful way to think about the future of work itself. I mean, think about all the debates happening right now. 4-day work weeks, universal basic income, they all come back to this. So here's the big question to leave you with. As things like automation and AI make us way more productive and potentially raise our wages, what's going to happen? Which effect will win out for society as a whole? Will we all become workaholics chasing that higher opportunity cost, or will we collectively decide we're rich enough and choose to enjoy more leisure? That's the huge question this model forces us to confront.